7 things successful people are never do. Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about something that truly resonates with anyone striving for success, the habits, mindsets, and attitudes that successful people avoid. As someone who's walked the path of dreams from small beginnings to global recognition, I've witnessed firsthand the power of certain behaviors that define greatness. So let's dive into this together with passion and purpose and explore the 7 things successful people are never afraid to let go of. 1. Successful people are never afraid to take risks. The path to success is not always linear, and it certainly isn't without uncertainty. I've learned that the biggest leaps often come from the boldest risks, whether it's stepping into unfamiliar territory, starting from scratch, or chasing dreams that others may call impossible. Successful people never let fear hold them back. Embrace uncertainty, trust your intuition, and believe in your ability to rise above challenges. 2. They never dwell on failures. Failure is often seen as the end, but successful people know it's just a stepping stone. When I faced setbacks, I didn't let them define me. Instead, I embraced them as lessons. Successful people don't allow failures to become obstacles. They turn them into opportunities to grow, to improve, and to keep moving forward. Remember, every setback is a setup for a comeback. 3. They never waste time comparing themselves to others. In the digital age, it's easy to get caught up in comparing our journeys to those of others. But successful people understand that comparison is a trap. You were born with your unique story, and your greatness lies in embracing that. Focus on your own goals, your own vision, and trust that your path is meant for you alone. There's no one else like you. Celebrate that. 4. They never seek validation from others. One of the most powerful lessons I've learned is that true success comes from within. Successful people don't rely on external validation to feel worthy or capable. They trust themselves, their instincts, and their worth. When you stop looking for approval from others, you free yourself to achieve your own definition of success. 5. They never give up on their dreams. There will always be moments of doubt, setbacks, and challenges, but successful people stay committed to their dreams no matter what. They know that success doesn't come overnight. It's the result of relentless determination and perseverance. If there's one thing I've held on to, it's the belief that dreams are meant to be chased and achieved, no matter how long it takes. 6. They never underestimate the power of self-discipline. Discipline isn't glamorous, but it's what separates the successful from the dreamers. I've learned that consistency and commitment to your goals are non-negotiable. No matter how talented you are, without self-discipline, those talents remain dormant. Successful people understand that it's the small, consistent efforts day in and day out that create the big results. 7. They never settle for mediocrity. Successful people are always striving for more, pushing beyond their limits. I believe mediocrity is a choice and success is a decision. Never settle for what's good enough. Strive for greatness, dream big, aim high, and let your ambition fuel you. The world belongs to those who dare to dream and refuse to settle for less. Successful people are never afraid to take risks. Risk is often seen as the enemy of comfort. It's the unknown, the uncertainty that makes people hesitate, second guess, and often hold back from achieving their dreams. But I've learned something profound in my own journey. The greatest rewards often lie just beyond that comfort zone. Every single time I've taken a risk, it has paid off in ways I couldn't have imagined. Whether it was moving from a small town in India to the world of modeling and eventually acting, or stepping into roles that challenged me in ways I hadn't anticipated, each risk, no matter how daunting, became a defining moment of my growth. Success doesn't come without stepping into the unknown. It requires a leap of faith, a belief that even if you stumble, you'll find a way to rise. Successful people don't fear the unfamiliar. They embrace it, knowing that every risk they take brings them closer to the life they desire. It's not about knowing what's ahead, but having the courage to believe that even in uncertainty, there's opportunity. Taking risks isn't just about big life decisions. It's about the little ones, too. Those moments when you choose to speak up instead of staying silent, when you choose to chase your dreams, even when the odds seem stacked against you. I often reflect on those times when I stepped onto the stage for my first big acting auditions. I could have walked away in fear, doubting my talent, my preparation, and my worth. But instead, I embraced the discomfort. I reminded myself that success doesn't come without discomfort. It doesn't come from playing it safe. It comes from believing that what's on the other side is worth the risk. That belief has guided me every step of the way. Taking risks forces you to grow. It's in those moments of discomfort that you truly discover who you are and what you're capable of. I've often spoken about how leaving my home country, India, to pursue a career in the US wasn't easy. There were moments of doubt, moments when I wondered if I had made the right choice. But I didn't let fear dictate my journey. Instead, I embraced the uncertainty and allowed it to fuel my determination. And in those moments, I found strength I didn't know I had. Risk taking requires a shift in mindset. It's about understanding that failure isn't the end, it's just another chapter in the story of success. We all have a choice to stay where we are, or to take that leap and grow. The successful understand this fundamental truth. They know that without taking risks, there's no innovation, no growth, no transformation. And that's what life is about: evolving, transforming, and becoming something greater than you were yesterday. I've often said that the greatest moments of my life came from stepping into the unknown. Whether it was walking the red carpet for the first time, standing on stage at the Oscars, or stepping into new roles that tested my limits, they all required me to take risks. But those risks were never driven by fear. They were driven by an unwavering belief in myself and my ability to succeed, even when the journey seemed uncertain. Successful people are those who understand that the magic lies in the discomfort. They don't seek comfort, they seek growth. And growth, as painful as it might be at times, is what leads to transformation. So, if there's one lesson I've learned, it's that success isn't reserved for those who play it safe. It belongs to those who are brave enough to take risks, to step into the unknown, and to trust that the universe has something greater in store for them. When you take that leap, you discover the limitless potential within you. And that's what makes success not just possible, but inevitable. They never dwell on failures. Failure, it's one of those words that often scares people into inaction. We live in a world where perfection is glorified, and the mere thought of failing feels like a stigma we don't want to carry. But I've learned that failure isn't something to be feared, it's something to be embraced. Every single failure I've faced has taught me invaluable lessons that have shaped my journey. When I failed at my early auditions, or when I was rejected from opportunities I thought I was destined for, those moments didn't define me, they redefined me. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the success journey. What separates successful people from those who give up is their attitude toward failure. Successful people don't wallow in their mistakes. They reflect on them, learn from them, and use them as stepping stones to move forward. I've often said that success is not linear. It's messy, unpredictable, and filled with ups and downs. But what keeps people moving forward is their ability to detach from failure and use it as a guide. When I reflect on my own journey, there have been countless times when I failed, times when I wasn't good enough, when my dreams felt out of reach, when the rejection stung. But I never allowed those moments to hold me back. Instead, I chose to see them as opportunities to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Every no, every closed door was a lesson in patience and perseverance. I realized that the most important thing wasn't avoiding failure, but how I responded to it. There were moments when I doubted my ability to succeed in Hollywood, a world vastly different from the one I knew. The rejections were harsh, and at times they felt endless. But I didn't let those no's define my worth. Instead, I chose to believe that each no was closer to a yes. I focused on refining my craft, on growing, and on believing in my vision, even when no one else did. That's what successful people do. They don't let failure become their identity. They let it be part of their story. The key is not to avoid failure, but to cultivate the resilience to bounce back. I often remind myself that failure isn't a dead end, it's merely a detour. Every stumble, every mistake is a chance to get up and try again with renewed strength and clarity. I've come to understand that true success lies in how we handle failure, not in whether we experience it. When I think of my journey from Miss World to a global star, I remember those times when I wasn't sure if I'd make it. But I didn't quit. I embraced failure as a teacher, not as a limiter. I took the lessons from every rejection and used them to fuel my determination. Because success doesn't come from avoiding failure, it comes from embracing it, learning from it, and pushing forward despite it. Successful people don't mourn their failures. They see them as necessary parts of the growth process. Every setback is just another step on the path to achieving greatness. And in those moments when you feel like you've failed, remember those failures are not your final destination. They're just stepping stones to something much greater. They never waste time comparing themselves to others. Comparison is a silent killer of dreams. In today's world, especially with the rise of social media, it's become so easy to fall into the trap of comparing ourselves to others. We scroll through perfect lives, highlight reels, and achievements, and suddenly our own journeys don't feel good enough. But I've come to realize that comparison is futile. Your journey is uniquely yours, and no one can walk it quite like you do. When I started out, I found myself constantly comparing my beginnings to those of others. I'd look at actors with longer resumes, more fame, or seemingly effortless success, and wonder if I'd ever make it. But the moment I truly began to thrive was when I stopped comparing, when I chose to focus on my own goals, my own strengths, and my own path. I understood that comparison only leads to self-doubt and stagnation. It's tempting to measure our success against others, to measure our worth by how many followers they have, how many awards they've won, or how far they've come. But I realize that doing so only robs you of the peace and clarity you need to thrive. Each person's journey is different. What might come easily to someone might be a struggle for another. And that's what makes life beautiful, our unique stories. I've learned to turn the focus inward. What do I want? What are my goals? What are my values and dreams? Those are the questions I ask myself, not what others have or haven't achieved. When I started my career, I would often see others receiving recognition and accolades, and I'd feel small in comparison. But success isn't about reaching someone else's version of greatness, it's about creating your own. Let me tell you this, you will always find someone ahead of you, someone who seems to be doing better, but you'll also find someone who's just starting out, someone who wishes they were in your shoes. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, focus on what you do. Celebrate your progress, your growth, your own journey. They never seek validation from others. Validation, it's something many of us seek, often because we're conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to the approval of others. From childhood, we're taught to look for acceptance, applause, and acknowledgement. But the truth is, no external validation can truly define your value. Your worth is intrinsic. It's something you must recognize within yourself. I've spent a large part of my life seeking validation. I've looked to others for approval, whether it was from casting directors, fans, or even people in my personal life. But what I've come to learn is that seeking validation is a never-ending cycle. The more you seek it, the more elusive it becomes, and eventually it drains your confidence and power. True confidence comes from within. I found that when I began trusting myself and believing in my own worth, validation became irrelevant. You can't rely on external sources to give you the validation you need to succeed. It has to come from within. Once I stopped seeking approval from others, I realized that my success wasn't determined by what others thought of me. It was determined by how I felt about myself. I spent too many years trying to fit into molds that society created, trying to be what everyone else wanted me to be. But I quickly realized that true success comes from embracing who I am unapologetically, confidently, and boldly. When I began owning my truth, my vision, and my purpose, the need for external validation faded away. We live in a world where social media amplifies this need for validation. We're constantly bombarded with likes, comments, and shares, making it easy to base our self-worth on how others perceive us. But I've learned that no one knows you better than you know yourself. No one's opinion of you matters as much as your opinion of yourself. Successful people understand that their self-worth isn't tied to external validation. They've learned that true power comes from within, from knowing who they are, what they stand for, and what they're capable of. When you stop seeking validation, you create space for self-belief and confidence to flourish. I've realized that chasing validation only leads to emptiness. It's a never-ending quest for something external that can never truly fill the void within. Instead, focus on nurturing your own sense of worth. Remind yourself that you don't need others to tell you who you are. You already know. When I stopped seeking validation, I began living on my terms. I started honoring my own dreams, my own path, and my own truth. And in doing so, I discovered a sense of fulfillment that no approval from the outside world could ever offer. Successful people are those who understand that validation is fleeting. They don't rely on others to define their worth. Instead, they embrace their own strengths, talents, and dreams, and they trust that those alone are enough to build the life they desire. They never give up on their dreams. Dreams, they're what keep us going, even when the road feels long and uncertain. There have been countless moments in my life when I could have given up, when rejection felt overwhelming, when doubts clouded my vision, and when the journey seemed endless. But I've learned that giving up isn't the answer. Success belongs to those who are relentless in their pursuit of their dreams. I often think about the times when I doubted whether I could make it in Hollywood. I questioned if I had what it took, if my dreams were too big, if I had what it took to break through. But giving up never crossed my mind. I knew that my dreams were non-negotiable. I'd rather risk failing while chasing them than live a life wondering what if. I've realized that the most successful people are those who refuse to let go of their dreams, no matter how difficult the journey becomes. Success doesn't come without struggle. It comes from persistence, resilience, and unwavering belief. You'll face obstacles, you'll experience setbacks, and there will be times when it feels like you're getting nowhere. But that's part of the process. When I look back at my life, I'm reminded that it was my refusal to quit that brought me to where I am today. I could have accepted mediocrity, settled for a safer path, or listened to the voices telling me I wasn't good enough. But instead, I chose to believe in my vision. I chose to trust the process, to keep pushing, even when the odds were against me. There were times when I was told I wasn't the right fit, that my accent or background wasn't ideal for Hollywood. But I refused to accept those limitations as truths. I believed in my dreams too much to let anyone else dictate my worth. Successful people are those who fall, get up, and keep moving forward. They understand that setbacks aren't failures, they're just detours on the road to their dreams. I've come to embrace every stumble, every mistake as part of my journey. They've made me stronger, more resilient, and more determined. I've learned that success isn't just about talent, it's about perseverance. It's about the decision to keep going when everything tells you to stop. I often remind myself of this simple truth: if your dreams don't scare you, they aren't big enough. The bigger your dreams, the harder you'll have to fight for them. But that fight is what makes success worth it. I've seen too many people give up when they're just inches away from breakthrough. But I believe that the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is simple: never giving up. The fire inside you must be stronger than the doubts outside. And that's what propels successful people forward. So keep chasing your dreams. No matter how impossible they may seem, no matter how many setbacks you face, never let go. Because success is not reserved for those who quit, it's reserved for those who refuse to give up. They never underestimate the power of self-discipline. Self-discipline, it's not glamorous, but it's one of the most crucial elements of success. Talent can only take you so far. Without discipline, even the most gifted individuals will struggle to reach their potential. I've come to understand that self-discipline is the secret weapon that separates the dreamers from the doers. There were moments in my life when I lacked the structure and focus I needed. I'd want to achieve big things, but I wasn't always ready to make the sacrifices necessary to get there. I had to build a routine, develop habits, and create a framework that held me accountable. And that's when I truly began to see results. I often reflect on how self-discipline shaped my journey. From early mornings spent rehearsing lines to late nights working on my craft, I realized that success isn't built overnight. It's built through consistency, through the small daily actions that compound over time. Self-discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. I remember when I first started acting, I had to balance countless auditions, travel, and the demands of learning a new craft. It wasn't easy. There were moments I wanted to quit. But I reminded myself that success requires a commitment to the process, not just the outcome. Self-discipline is what kept me going, even when I was exhausted. Successful people understand that shortcuts don't lead to lasting success. They know that self-discipline is the bridge between where they are and where they want to be. It's about making the right choices even when no one's watching and even when the motivation isn't there. When I think about the people who've inspired me, they're those who have stuck to their routines, their commitments, and their goals, no matter how difficult the journey. Self-discipline isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. It's about showing up every day, doing the work, and refusing to give up. I've learned that self-discipline isn't just about creating habits, it's about mastering your mind and your actions. It's about making a choice to control your destiny rather than letting circumstances control you. I've often said that success doesn't happen by chance, it happens by choice. And self-discipline is that choice. Without discipline, we're merely dreamers, but with discipline, we become doers. And that's the difference that separates those who succeed from those who don't. They never settle for mediocrity. Mediocrity, it's the silent killer of ambition. There's something about settling that feels comfortable, safe, but deep down, it robs us of our potential. I've realized that the truly successful don't accept mediocrity. They're constantly pushing themselves, striving for excellence, and refusing to settle for anything less than their best. I've spent a lot of my life being told to tone down my dreams, to keep my ambitions in check, to aim for something realistic. But I've always believed that life is meant to be lived boldly, unapologetically, and without limits. Settling for mediocrity doesn't allow room for growth, for transformation, or for achieving something extraordinary. When I first came to Hollywood, people told me it was too competitive, too difficult, that I wasn't the conventional choice. I could have let those voices discourage me, but I didn't. I refused to accept anything less than greatness. I believed in myself, and I knew that mediocrity was not an option. Mediocrity often feels like a safe space. It doesn't require risk. It doesn't require discomfort. But I've learned that success demands discomfort. It demands stepping into the unknown, pushing your limits, and constantly striving for more. Mediocrity is a trap that keeps you from your potential. Successful people aren't afraid to challenge themselves. They seek growth, evolution, and expansion. They understand that life isn't about settling. It's about dreaming big, working hard, and refusing to accept limitations. I've come to realize that settling means accepting the bare minimum. And why would anyone with big dreams settle for the bare minimum? When I think of my journey, I remind myself that I could have taken a more conventional path, one that would have been easier, more predictable. But that wasn't enough for me. I wanted more. I wanted to create a life that inspired not just me, but others as well. And that desire to push beyond what was expected has been the driving force behind my success. I've learned that mediocrity doesn't come from lack of talent, it comes from lack of ambition. It's about choosing to be comfortable instead of being courageous. I've chosen courage. I've chosen to dream bigger than what feels safe, and that choice has opened doors I never thought possible. Successful people know that mediocrity is a choice. They refuse to accept it because they believe in their potential, they believe in their dreams, and they refuse to settle for anything less than what they know they can achieve. Let me tell you this, your dreams are too big to settle. You have the power to create a life that exceeds all expectations, but it starts with rejecting mediocrity. Keep striving, keep pushing, and refuse to settle for anything less than your best. The journey to success is not one defined by perfection or ease, but by resilience, courage, and an unwavering belief in oneself. Successful people are never afraid to take risks, as they understand that growth often lies beyond the comfort zone. They embrace failure, knowing that setbacks are simply opportunities to learn and evolve. They refuse to compare themselves to others, understanding that their unique path is what ultimately defines their success. Successful people don't seek validation from the outside world. Instead, they cultivate self-belief and confidence from within. They are relentless in pursuing their dreams, refusing to settle for mediocrity or the easy path. Above all, they practice self-discipline, recognizing that success is built through consistent effort and determination. The common thread among those who achieve greatness is their refusal to be limited by fear, doubt, or external judgment. They understand that success is not reserved for the talented few, but for those who are brave enough to stay the course, to believe in themselves, and to push beyond what feels possible. Your dreams are powerful, and the only thing standing between you and success is the belief that you're capable of achieving more. So go boldly into the world, take those risks, rise from failures, and never settle for anything less than the life you envision. Success isn't a destination, it's a journey fueled by determination, self-belief, and a refusal to quit. Let your dreams drive you, and let nothing hold you back from creating the life you deserve.